Welcome to the Relational Lives podcast. I'm Ali.
And I'm Roz.
And we're both psychotherapists.
This is a podcast about the complexities of relationships and how trauma, attachment, and lived experience shape how we love and connect.
Because relationships are rarely simple, and we want to give you the understanding to unlock your relationship's full potential.
If you enjoy this show, please give us a 5-star review and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on. This also means you'll get notified when new episodes come out.
And we enjoy engaging with our listeners, so do reach out with your comments, or you can email us at relationallives@gmail.com.
Have you ever been accused of not listening, not doing what you agreed to do, or not caring, when actually you care deeply and are terrified of losing your partner? ADHD in relationships is often misunderstood, and often by the person who has it. Let's change that. In this episode, we focus on the experience of the ADHD partner, what it's like for you, and helpful tips for positive change. We will try and make this ADHD friendly by keeping it brief, focused, and clear.
Let's begin, Roz, by looking at, firstly, how ADHD can leave that person feeling within a relationship. There are some key things that we experience. We see that the ADHD partner feels inside of them, and there's a few here that I've put down, and that I've also seen on the ADHD UK website. So feeling misunderstood is one. Feeling broken, feeling overwhelmed, shamed, incompetent, and terrified of failure.
God, they're hard, aren't they, things to feel? And there's a lot of them. And really helpful website. We'll put that website as a link, because that sounds like that's a really good selection of what it might feel like for somebody who has ADHD.
Yeah.
And we need to just remind everybody who's listening to this, we're not experts. We don't have ADHD ourselves. And so this is just from our experience, isn't it, with working with people and couples with ADHD or individuals with ADHD. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we are going to look at how this might be showing up for you, the ADHD partner, and what you might be able to recognize within yourself to get to know you and how you function, how your brain works, so that you can be clear about it and share it with your partner.
So, but focusing on the person with ADHD, let's look at what it's like for somebody, or what it might be like for somebody who has an ADHD style brain.
Yeah.
So we've got a list of things, haven't we, that we can look at here, Ali?
Yeah, really. This is a list for the ADHD or suspected ADHD partner to have a think about for themselves if this is a part of how their brain functions. It's about getting to know yourself, getting to know if this is an ADHD aspect for you, and if so, how that can then be used as a way of supporting the relationship.
Yeah, and this is a list which isn't exhaustive, and there's going to be other things, aren't there? But it's just starting that thinking process, isn't it, to see whether they're relatable or not. Okay, so the first one on the list, what are you like at prioritizing tasks? How do you find that? Do you find that difficult, or do you find that easy? Because often this will be something with an ADHD brain and style that actually prioritizing tasks can be really tricky.
I find it really easy, and I take that for granted. But I know, ADHD brains can find it really hard, can't they?
Yeah, and I think, as per our last episode, actually, it's also looking at what happens when you're doing a task, to even do one task, how much effort is involved in thinking about all the individual little steps that it takes to do that.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, no wonder it's difficult to prioritize.
The next one, how possible is it for your brain to hold things in mind and come back to them? It's probably not easy at all, because ADHD brains are often all about the now. So those things, those tasks that someone's asked you to do at the time will be there, but then they quite quickly float off. So reflect on that for yourself. How possible is it for your brain to hold things in mind?
So the next one, what happens when your partner tells you that they want more support? What does that feel like? What do
Mm.
you do? How do you take that in? What happens when we referred earlier to the things that you can feel inside? What happens to you? Do you tell yourself that you're going to not get something right, or that somehow you're failing in some way, or that you're going to be under pressure? So just notice what happens when your partner might do that.
Yeah, that's a good one. What is it like for you when your partner brings up a difficulty within the division of responsibility? This goes back to that last one a little bit. Do you retreat? Do you shut down? And what might that be about for you if that's the case? Or do you get defensive? Do you fight back? Do you blame?
The next one, what is it like for you when you try something and it doesn't go to plan? So that can be a hard one, can't it? Because I guess with the ADHD brain, we want the stimulation, we want things to go well, we want things to feel good, we want to feel okay. So maybe when you try something and it doesn't go well, just notice what happens. What does that feel like?
Can often feel like a huge, awful failure, can't it? That sometimes the small that you might think, oh, that's actually quite a small thing to not be able to do or to not go to plan, but it can feel big. And when you are hyper focused on something, what is it like for you when someone interrupts you? ADHD brains very often really struggle with this. I've heard from my couple clients, the ADHD partner says, please do not interrupt me when I'm doing something. I have to have that focus, and it can bring out a lot of anger when interrupted.
So, next one, how does your ADHD impact your sexual dynamic? Do you need more excitement? Do you struggle to focus on your partner when you're being intimate? Are you afraid of rejection or failing? So this is an area where it can come up, can't it, Ali, in our couples work, where we notice that sexual dynamic can be different for the non-ADHD partner to the ADHD
Yeah, that can
person.
be very difficult because one partner, the ADHD partner, may often want more excitement, more novelty, needing to change things up, bringing toys in, bringing fantasy in at a pace that the other partner might not be ready for or ever at all.
Yes. Oh, and also, interestingly, how the non-ADHD partner might be interpreting that if they're
Mm,
not feeling necessarily fully connected.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that can
I'm
come
not
into
enough
that
is a common one.
yes, into that sexual intimacy. Yeah.
And finally, from this list anyway, what are the strengths that you bring to the relationship? What is it about the way that your brain works that supports the relationship? So often this might be you bring excitement, you bring fun, you bring spontaneity, you bring play. And those are so important for a relationship, aren't they? Without that, it's quite dull.
Yes. So important. Yeah. Important to recognize.
Especially when you've got a family, you've got a lot of responsibilities. That fun element is so important to a relationship.
Yes. And that's a nice one in a way to end in the list. There are going to be so many more, aren't there? And I think that would be really helpful for people to start having that list to think about things and think about how they experience themselves, how you experience yourself with ADHD.
Yeah.
Anybody who might be either diagnosed or think that they may have traits, who's listening to this, see if any of those points you can relate to.
And do comment if you have others that you think would be helpful to share with people that may be thinking they have ADHD. And let's go on now to the 3 takeaway tips.
3 top takeaway tips.
So, first one you've already done if you got to this point in the episode, because it's listen to this episode and reflect on the things we've mentioned and how ADHD may be impacting you and therefore coming into your relationship.
Takeaway tip number 2. Ask your partner if they would be prepared to hear what you've reflected on. Perhaps ask them to listen to this before you share.
And finally, takeaway tip 3. Discuss ways together that you can start to consider this as a part of the negative dynamic between you. and take a step towards slowly bringing some change. One step at a time is key here. You have to recognize, we both have to recognize that this is going to be a slow, careful process. And each way it's about setting up for success, because ADHD brains need those small wins to feel more confident.
3 tips to help people, and there are going to be many more, but this is hopefully a really good start to think about things and become aware and to learn more about your brain.
Yeah. And our next episode is going to be focusing on the non-ADHD partners. So do tune in for that, and subscribe to whatever you listen to this on, because you'll get notifications about the next episode as well.
Lovely. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.